Results of a brand new poll have shaken up the San Diego mayoral race. Assemblyman Nathan Fletcher, who recently went independent, is now in second place. Now, these are the results of the new poll. You can see still in the lead with 28% of those polled, City Councilman Carl DeMaio. Well, maybe you can't see, so I'll just tell you. Not far behind Assemblyman Nathan Fletcher. There it is. Nathan Fletcher with 26%, which is within the statistical margin of error, I believe. Representative Bob Filner now drops to third place with 20%, and rounding out the top four is District Attorney Bonnie Dumanis with 13%. Does this early poll signal anything significant? Well, our political analyst John Dadian in here this morning to talk about that. We'll talk local first, then we'll kind of go national with it. What about that poll? I mean, we were talking about Nathan Fletcher, you know, being a pretty qualified candidate, but not really showing up on anybody's radar here just a few weeks ago. Now, look at this.
You've heard me say repeatedly, it's called a campaign for a reason.
Okay.
The election day is about 6 weeks away. It's not being held today. This lead's going to change several times between now and then. And you made a very important point. It's a margin of error. So, for example, all the news stories are leading today saying that Nathan Fletcher's in second. But with 4-point margin of error, technically he could be in first. Can you imagine the difference in the story if it would have been put that way? So this is, also poll is a snapshot in time.
And with the margin of error, Bob Filner not far behind either, or in essence not really behind. It's very, very early. Now, does it surprise you, though, that Bonnie Dumanis, being our district attorney and being very well known here in town, that she's not polling a little bit higher, kind of equal to those other three top candidates?
I would put her, it's unfair to make this comparison, but I would compare her similar to Romney, that she has, it seems like a little ceiling, that she can't just seem to get above that. You know, it's just very surprising. Keep in mind, she and Bob Filner are the only ones in their electoral history have run citywide, so it is surprising.
You know, even Bob Filner made the point when we were talking to him that this is it's a nonpartisan office. And he made that point as if to say, well, you know, Nathan Fletcher did the right thing by going independent. It almost sounded like what he was saying.
Which, all due respect to the congressman, is ironic that he says this, because early on in the race, at the end of last year, he literally made the statement, paraphrasing, that he's de facto the Democratic nominee, being the only Democrat. So now he's realizing when he drops to third, all of a sudden he's saying it's nonpartisan.
Interesting. Okay. Let's talk about the big national story right now, which has been Mitt Romney's wife kind of taken a pretty scalding hit from a political consultant on CNN who said, oh, she's never held a job in her life. That had to be an instant nightmare for the president and his staff when that statement was made and the reverberation started.
Internally, privately, the Romney campaign is probably going around to each other saying, we love Democratic consultants. Keep talking. It's absolutely a godsend. I went for the Republicans.
For Romney,
oh,
yes,
absolutely. Yeah. I did a little research, and the last statistics, which were about a year old, show that stay-at-home moms are 5 million plus in this country. That's called a constituency. That's a big constituency that you do not want to offend because it crosses party lines.
Yeah, it's kind of shocking that somebody in this day and age would make a statement like that. But I think, you know, on these shows, there's so much pressure to fill airtime, to say something pithy, to be invited back, to earn your check as a pundit, that it's inevitable that they're going to do things like this.
Let's be fair. Romney, the candidate, has made a ton of gaffes. It happens. It happens on consultants. It happens on that. Here's the concern that I have. Similar, and again, I'm going to make the analogy to the Rush Limbaugh recent controversy, et cetera. After it was done and the toothpaste was out of the tube, the apology was weak. I'm sorry, but. You don't say I'm sorry, but say I'm sorry, move on, it was wrong. That's the only classy way to get out of it. She started making, you know, reasons, et cetera, and it just doesn't. And you're right, all of the Democrats came out against her Democratic consultant. Also, the Democratic Party is trying to distance themselves, saying she's not an official, you know, consultant for the Democratic Party. She's been in the White House 30 times since Obama's taken office. Believe me, she's in tight with these folks.
She's in tight. I've got about 20 seconds left. What's the other top thing on your mind today as you just kind of scan the landscape?
Well, clearly the mayor's race is the hottest thing, because that poll will make some candidates nervous and some candidates have to cement their base. And again, now that we're going into it, et cetera, look for the money to start being spent. Nathan Fletcher, one of the reasons you've seen this bump is he's had 2 commercials now. I don't think it's so much as his party switch as always been his problem, the name ID. And I think that's what's increased more than his party switch.
All right. Political consultant John Dadian, it's always good to see you. Thanks. You have a great weekend.
Thank you.
Friday the 13th, lucky Friday, right?
Absolutely.
That's my...
Every day's a good day.
That's right. All right.